You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
Welcome back, everyone, to more of the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou. It is March 8th, 2022, and we are continuing on with our Best Fits free agency series. And today, I am coming to you guys with a video on the Carolina Panthers. We're going to go a little bit in depth on this team and talk a couple of positions I would like to see them go after with some players to fit into those spots as well. So, as always, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and my Panthers fans, let me know in the comment section down below, who do you want to see the Panthers go after in this year's free agency? Also, just a quick side note, if you are somebody who is a regular who's been watching, I've changed the lighting a little bit with the camera here. Let me know what you guys think of this. It's supposed to be a little bit more naturally tuned to what the room looks like, because before, especially because of this window, it was pulling in so much light sometimes it would make it look really, really white and just super bright. So this is supposed to be a little bit more of a natural look. Let me know what you guys think about that if you're somebody who watches consistently, or if you're new and you see the lighting. How does it look? Just let me know. So, Panthers, a team that, in my opinion, underachieved, but also somewhat ended up where I kind of expected them to be. I had high hopes for these guys, except I didn't have high expectations, if that makes sense. Like, I hoped they were going to do really well, but I also had them picked as fourth in the division when I was doing my divisional previews before the season started. So they ended up where I thought they'd be, but I was hoping they'd maybe win a couple more games, and also a little bit disappointed with the way the quarterback situation kind of unfolded in Carolina. There was a clear disconnect and also just like some dysfunction going on with what the direction of the offense actually was. And also, at the end of the day, I don't know what you Panthers fans think, but I was pretty surprised to see that Matt Rule got to keep his job after this season. You guys have a championship-level defense, in my opinion, one that held up throughout the entirety of the year until the very end, when at that point, when your defense trying to carry an offense that can't move the football at all, there's not really much you can do besides gas out at the end, and my hat's off to the defense for sure. There are some offensive needs that need to be addressed here. I'm actually only talking offense, and I have two positions of need that I would like to see filled with some players. And the first position we're going to talk is on the offensive line, and it's going to specifically be the guard position. And if he becomes available, because I do know that the Buccaneers are a little tight with money, I would like to see Alex Kappa end up over in Carolina. Moving on over in the division from the Bucs over to the Panthers. If you're signing him, he's 27 years old, so he's got some good years left in him. You get him on a 3, 4, 5-year deal, probably more closer to like the 4 and 5 year side. It looks like he's projected somewhere around $8 to $10 million per year on average, so it's actually not a ton of money compared to what some of the, and Kappa's a really good lineman too, but compared to what some numbers I've seen for some higher up linemen that people have ranked, they're forcing like 12, 13, $14 million deals. Kappa at around 8 to 10, not terrible. He's probably going to be closer to the 10, but regardless, even if he's staying around the 10 million mark, not bad. Offensive line play in Carolina was not great. There's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done there. I think building through the draft is going to be important for them as well, but pulling in a guy through free agency to plug up at least one of the holes, and especially the right guard spot specifically where Alex Kappa plays, I think would be a smooth move for this offense. Kappa's been a steady guy over the last 4 years of his career, especially the last 3 progressing each and every single year as a starter. He's only allowed 9 sacks in the last 3 seasons, and in 2020, he actually only had 0. The 9 sacks have come from 2 of the 3 seasons that he's played these last 3 years. And again, coupled with the fact that Kappa's a right guard, and one of the bigger holes on the O-line is that right guard position, he can kind of fit right on into that spot and be an effective piece to help build out this line for, depending on what happens at running back. There are the rumors Christian McCaffrey might not be a Panther if the right opportunity arises to move him, which would be very interesting in my opinion. But if that is the case, then that would mean that running back Chua Hubbard, who is a more traditional running type of running back, he's not going to play wide receiver for you the way Christian McCaffrey literally can, because at some stages you think, is McCaffrey even a running back or is he a wide receiver? I don't really know because of the way he can play. Obviously he's a running back, but you get my point. If the rumors do end up being true, Chuba Hubbard is a more traditional runner, and Alex Kappa coming in and fortifying up the interior of that offensive line would help open up some paths for him to run through and hopefully make this line a better grouping and help Chuba Hubbard in his progress and growth as a pro. His first year, it was pretty solid. He's not, and this could be something that gets, fixed over time, not super productive in the passing game. Like I think the Panthers would hope he would be, considering their, when healthy, they're used to having a guy like Christian McCaffrey who was able to catch 100 passes in a single season. But if you're going to be focusing more on running the football with Chuba Hubbard as opposed to him being a piece of the passing game, you definitely want to make sure that your offensive line is nasty and up for the task and be able to open up those roadways for Hubbard to run through. The second guy that I have picked for Carolina here, and the Panthers only have $21.5 million to work with at this point of me recording. Obviously, this number could change if somebody gets released or if somebody gets signed, whatever it may be. The number is going to obviously change. It's not set in stone, but this is the number I have to work with right now. It's not a ton of money, but it's also not a small amount of money. I'm already allocating around $8 to $10 million of signing in Alex Kappa. And the second guy that I picked is more of like a depth piece and also a upgrade at the position, in my opinion, because it was a very lackluster position and probably the worst in the league. And that's no hate. That's just based on the numbers. The tight end position. It needs something, some sort of spark, some sort of something. Whether they look in the draft for a guy or maybe they target one in free agency. I actually have them looking at a guy in free agency here. I wouldn't mind seeing them go after tight end Max Williams. And if you don't know who Max Williams is, he has been very steady in his production, somewhere around like 200 or so yards per season. He's had a touchdown about every year as well. He's never been the number one tight end, and he was most recently just on Arizona. The reason I'm saying bring in a guy like Max Williams, again, he's 28 years old. He is not a number one tight end, but in my opinion, is an upgrade over the tight end room that you have right now. When you look at the numbers combined between the two tight ends that got the most play, that's Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble, they combined for 38 receptions, 368 yards, and a touchdown. Two players, one position, literally no production at all. That's why I say it's probably one of the worst tight end groups in the NFL. No hate, just the numbers kind of speak for themselves. Couple that with the fact that this team altogether, this is not just tight ends, but skill position, wide receivers, running backs, and the tight ends, accounted for 26 dropped passes this year. And there might have been more. I only counted 26. There might have been more. So Panthers fans, let me know if that number's higher. But it's at least 26. Carolina needs some sure-handed receivers, people who are going to catch the ball and not just drop it in scenarios where they should not be dropping the football. Max Williams, in the 121 career targets that he has going his way over, I believe, 7 seasons he's played now, 5, 6, 7 seasons, something like that, 5 to 7 seasons, 2 career drops. That's it. And he didn't drop the football at all last year. He's not a big-time number one tight end. He is not the sexy signing that some teams are probably hoping to bring in or that some fans are hoping their teams decide to bring in. He is a guy who is sure-handed. He's actually pretty good at blocking, too, for the run game or in pass protection. Couple that with, really not a whole lot going on in the current tight end room that you have in Carolina. Max Williams becomes an upgrade for the position. He becomes tight end one for the team, at least at that point. And again, if the Panthers decide to go after a tight end in the draft, maybe that changes things. But even doing a small move like this adds a significant upgrade to a receiving corps that spent way too much time letting footballs hit their hands and fall straight to the ground. Again, he's not the big money guy that you're probably expecting to hear about. He's not, one of those splash play type of dudes. The way I've been doing this free agency series is I like to try to identify like a bigger money guy for every team, and then a more like low-key signing depth piece guy that it would, be a solid addition and upgrade at a position of need. And Max Williams doesn't break the bank. You don't have to commit to him long-term, but realistically, it opens up the ability to make the other two tight ends that, played the majority of your snaps last year become a little more expendable, and maybe you move on from one or two or both of them, whatever you opt to decide to do. I like the idea of bringing a tight end like Max Williams in. Again, he's a really good blocker, really sure hands, and anything to reduce the number of drops that you had this past season is a win in my book for the Carolina Panthers receiving corps. But that is who I have picked for the Carolina Panthers. My Panthers fans, let me know who you guys think in the comment section down below that you would like to see the Panthers pick up in this year's free agency. That is all from me. I appreciate you all for watching. Have a good one.